Today, we're talking about VTubers with PhDs. I think it's always interesting when people take their education and then they turn it into something like content, right? Something that entertain people. I wonder if they're using their PhDs to also educate. I think that's going to be cool. But yeah, let's talk about this. VTubers that have PhDs. A very cool conversation with Geega, somebody that's very awesome. Point blank, period.
He has a PhD in yapology.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest,
biology.
most PhDs are so useless, and then there are a few that are so
Oh,
incredibly
damn.
necessary
I didn't
for
know we were
certain
going here.
jobs. I feel so bad because there are people who want to do a certain job, and then they find out somewhere in the middle of doing college that they have to go to more school forever just to do the job they want, and they go,
That is
oh,
how
when
it
they
be.
realize they're in for a long ride, and
For real.
that's very sad. Data science better have a PhD? Not well. Depends.
What was the
That's
question?
very sad. Data science better have
Data science better have a
a
PhD.
PhD? Not well. Depends on who you work for, but not at all. Actually, I mean, if you're talking about real data science, yeah, there are some very real parts of that field where you don't need a PhD at all, but you have to have an insane portfolio and you have to have done the same things that you would do if you had a PhD in it. Yeah, you can't do the I'm going to become an analyst route and then become chief data scientist for how many PhD until VTuber career. Depends on the VTuber. There's some VTubers that have never gone to school beyond high school. They just
Yeah,
went straight into streaming. There are some VTubers that have put PhDs fully.
definitely.
There are some VTubers that have held no career. They got out of college and started streaming and went, all right, f- it. There's some that have had full careers and did it.
Those are the
It is
ones.
what it is.
Those are the streamers that I'm interested in, like just hearing their journey. Like you telling me you went to school and maybe you got a master's or a PhD or a doctorate, right? Maybe you had a nice career, 10 plus years in on a specific field, and then for some reason you decided to stop doing it and then pursue entertaining people online. Like I got to hear that story. That's definitely a really interesting story to hear.
It is. It's almost like they're a sample of the population. Nami, feel like having no experience of work before full-time VTubing is a disadvantage. Not VTubing, streaming. Anyone who gets thrown into a unique social environment that is not like most real environments without experiencing, that first, will have a harder time because this will become their reality. This will be all they know of adult life, which is not good. I think you don't develop a lot of maturity being in this space
I
unless
can
you
agree
already
with that.
developed it.
I absolutely can agree with that, right? How many streamers have we seen that absolutely run amok online because they don't know that, trying to entertain your chat is not how you actually go about just living a day to day or normal life. And at the same time, whenever you are streaming, and especially if you do gain an audience, right? I think it's easier to fall into that trap of, oh, everything is about me. I am so special. The world revolves around what I do at all times. And then they take this mentality because they haven't been checked and then they go into the real world. And I feel like nothing but consequences can happen with this type of mentality with this issue. And I'm not necessarily talking about people that go out and do pranks, right? Like Johnny and all those other people that go out and purposefully offend people. I mean, just people in general that have this whole like, oh, I'm the only thing that matters. And you know who they are. Like you could just walk around IRL and you could see those people all the time, all the time. So yeah, definitely it does create a maturity issue. And at the same time, it's like these people are entertaining people, sure. But how many people are they entertaining young? And those same young people want to be like them and then they end up copying these same actions because as humans, man, we just copy things in general all the time. Some people think, oh, only children copy and then they mimic things when they grow up, but no, not necessarily. Like humans just in general will copy things if they feel like it'll give them some type of advantage or some type of positivity in their life. So, like for example, you see a person that's always taking photos of themselves, blase blase. They got makeup, they got the newest Gucci bag or whatever. Like that encourages the other young people to copy the same thing, so they can get the same type of attention. And overall, like I think that just will lead to many bad results. And hopefully they could grow out of that phase. Hopefully it is a phase. Like, oh, I'm in my emo phase or I'm in my hoe phase. Like, hopefully it is a phase and that's not, your life. But we'll see what happens in the future, right?
So, when someone's like, I don't get why this streamer who's in his 30s acts like a child, I'm like, he got out of high school and immediately started streaming and never worked in a normal environment ever. He didn't have the chance to develop that. If anything, it was negatively developed because of the feedback he got from people via the internet. And now he ended up like this. It's, dare I say, almost not that person's fault. It is, but it isn't in my mind, because
I mean, like, yeah, how can you, like, you would expect them at 30, 40, 50, right, to have their maturity align. But it's like they didn't align their maturity when they were younger. Like they didn't follow the steps to get maturity. So it's like, can you blame them? I mean, sure, you could say they're 35, they should know better, but if they weren't taught to know better, then they technically can't. Like you don't just gain maturity when you get older. It's not how it works. So yeah, it is kind of like, bro, you're 35, figure it out. But at the same time, it's like, well, they never got the chance to figure it out, you know?
because, how would they know better? Literally, how? That's my thought on that. Bro never got fact checked by life. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. I
yeah,
think,
like that. Never got
regarding,
fact checked by
something
life.
like streaming,
For real.
something along the lines of modeling. Actually, no, modeling I think can be good because of you having to manage appointments and meet very different people. Maybe, yeah, really just streaming anything that is internet based and you don't go into a physical workplace. You have the option to not talk to people at any point in time. You don't have to deal with difficult people if you don't want to. All this kind of stuff. I don't know. I just feel like you end up very narrow-minded and not developing anything
I can
else.
agree with
Can
that.
you get out of that? Absolutely. You can
Yeah, you
make sure
can.
that your
It's
life outside of
possible.
streaming is
Yeah, sure.
well-rounded, but that
It
just
is
depends on the
possible.
person. Some people
Absolutely.
don't know what they don't know. And they think this
Exactly.
is
They
fine.
don't know what they don't know.
Is there a
Like
good
that's
ending to a
real.
VTuber, like a long-term plan for your 40s? You're acting like 40s-year-olds. Most people die closer to their 70s, so long-term plan is a bit more than that. I think VTubing has
And that's an interesting like that in itself should show like where people's minds are when it comes to streaming because it's like 40 years old and you're streaming like that's not bad, right? Especially if you have made a career from it. And it's like 40 isn't old either. Like you're literally as old as you feel, and that's just proven with science, like the way the human brain works. If you are constantly telling yourself like you're in your prime, your body will form to this your body will stay in a way where it doesn't start actually accepting defeat. It would be like the easiest way to really explain it without talking about the actual science that goes into it.
the potential to go farther in someone's life than streaming with a face cam because no one will see you age. Maybe not. Maybe it means that some people will grow out of it and decide, I don't like this anime character anymore. I don't know. Yeah,
Redesign,
and what you said,
redebut.
the audience is aging with creators. It's very true. A lot of people say,
Yeah,
the
it's
viewer
true.
base of streamers are all in their 20s, so they're never going to watch 30-year-olds. And then that viewer base that was in their
Nah, they
20s
turned 30.
got into their 30s, and guess what? They still watch streamers.
Yeah.
So,
Same thing with
and
gaming.
their tastes aligned with the streamers that got older, so a lot of those streamers are still going.
True.
And they always said,
Like, that's the community
average age of
aspect.
content creator is like a 3 to 5 year career, but I see it going a lot further for a lot of people as the viewer base ages. Kind of
Yeah.
the way PC gaming trends a certain way in age, and the way it has over time. Same thing with watching streamers.
And when I was talking about gaming, I mean gaming in general. Like every kid that grew up with Ocarina of Time, there's been like what 3 or 4 remakes or remasters of Ocarina of Time. And as those people get older, right? If you played Ocarina of Time as a kid, you're probably in your mid 30s, maybe late 30s. I'm not too sure, right? Because that came out before I was born. But that being said, it's like no, not before I was born, but like a little bit after I was born. But like these people are like in their 30s, right? 40s, right? That's not really old. Now imagine like 30 plus years from now, right? Now they're 60. Will Nintendo create another version of Ocarina of Time? Probably because even when they're 60, they might still be gaming. Like there's a high probability they would still be gaming. At least from what I've seen, like you see people that are in their late 30s, early 40s, and if they grew up gaming, like they're probably gaming still. Like, of course, maybe not on the same scale, but they are probably still playing games. Like if you're a grown ass man and you're walking around with Nintendo shirts and shit like that, like you're probably still gaming. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's probably what it is. And so, like, when they turn 50 or 60, I wouldn't be surprised if another remake of something that they liked comes out again Because at the end of the day, when it comes to like marketing and these big game publishers and companies, of course they want to make money. And what makes money? Nostalgia. And it's been proven time and time and again. Like, even if it's whatever, like the nostalgia bait will always grab that person. It will always grab that individual. And like you're starting to see it as well. Like even me, because I'm growing up, stuff that I grew up with is starting to get remakes and remasters, and they're trying to hook me into it, just like they hooked the people that played games before I did. You're not going to get your boy KhunShawn, but you will definitely get a lot of other people that miss the good old days or miss the good times. But the thing is, and I'll hit you guys with this thought experiment, when are you out of the good times? When are you in the good old days before it is the good old days? And at that, I would say you're always in the good old days as long as you are enjoying the time that you're having with your life. So, good old days when you were a kid, when you're in high school, middle school, whatever, right? You go home and then you play video games. That's the good old days. But now, if you're not enjoying your career or your whatever, your path, and you're missing that, then you can say those were the good old days. What I'm in now is not the good days. But that being said, there are other people that are also living a great life now. And whenever they get 30 or 40, maybe then their life will switch where they start thinking their 20s were the good old days. But that being said, those same people that don't enjoy their 20s, when they get into their 40s, are they still going to say the good old days were back when they were in middle school and high school? I would hope not. Because if you think your good old days were back in your childhood and now you're pushing 40, pushing 50, you've had a sad life, my friend, but a lot of it at the end of the day is mindset. So try and switch to a growth mindset, and hopefully you will be living in the good old days for the rest of your days. Anyways, this is your boy KhunShawn. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is a great video by Geega. I always enjoy seeing these like Geega talk videos. She's always really eloquent with her verbiage. Anyways, this is your boy KhunShawn. You guys have a good one. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.